Welcome to What the Flick, everybody. This is Girls, I think episode 8. Ted and Loreen and Avi and Shanaz. A little Bill and Carol. And
Bob and Carol.
Bob and Carol, yeah. You know what? That's why it didn't come up on my Google search of Bill and Carol.
Yeah.
Little Bob and Carol.
Bill held the camera.
But that makes sense that I get that title wrong because it's been nearly 2 weeks since I saw that. Have any of you guys seen Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice?
I haven't.
No.
I'm not asking you.
Sorry.
You own it.
I'm sad that I don't get that reference, though. I feel I want to fit in so badly.
Elliot Gould and
Diane Cannon and Robert Culp and Natalie Wood.
Yeah.
Groundbreaking swinger movie.
That's right. Groundbreaking swinger. Late 60s.
Paul Mazursky.
That's right. Worth seeing.
I'm in.
Yeah. Obviously, the big news is that Hannah's father
is gay.
Or says he's gay. Is there any?
Thinks he's gay.
Thinks he's gay. But there's no. What's interesting is that you would think somewhere in that experience, wouldn't your first question be to your husband, have you acted on this feeling? And that question did not happen.
Mm-hmm. I don't think
it
she
was all
believes
you want
him.
to, not have you.
I think it was pretty clear that he hadn't because he probably would have said so to back up his case since she didn't buy it. I think if he had some, if he had some receipts and times and dates to back him up, that would be one thing. But at this point, it's clearly theoretical.
Right, because although it just seems like that. I mean, I loved this episode. It's like this. It's also one of these episodes that you're going to be able to, like, 9 years from now, if you want somebody to watch Girls and they don't want to watch the whole thing, you can. It's like totally freestanding. It's like a little.
True.
It's like a short.
But except no Jessa.
No Jessa. So it's a great short now. No, but I mean, but I mean, it's like this. You don't. It's had nothing to do with the series. This episode can exist completely on its own as an interesting.
I did feel like it had one of those great encapsulating moments where the teacher guy tells her, where she's like, you don't. Where she says, you don't understand who I am or something.
He said, no, I think
you don't understand who you are.
You don't understand who you are. Yeah. Right. I forgot about that whole other part, but that's the B story was so massively secondary. So did you see that coming? Did you see his announcement coming? Kind of, not right that moment, but in general it fit in?
I did not see that coming. That was kind of shocking. There were actually 2 moments in this episode that were shocking. That was obviously one of them. And then the other one involved Marnie, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point.
I forgot about that too.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the frenulum piercing.
I love how we just don't even care about
I forgot there's 3 other storylines in this, right? I totally forgot. I mean,
and Ray's running for office.
Right, Shosh went on the date, and the cast of the right, there's all this stuff. No, none of it.
That scene with Shosh was awesome. I can't wait to talk about that.
Can we talk about her tweezing her pubes?
Yeah.
Yes.
What was that? I loved it.
I was unclear as to what that actually was, and for a moment I thought that she was actually dyeing them. There was something about the headband, and there was some discussion about hair dye. And I was like, is that what's going on?
Yeah, I like that scene. Those are the scenes that make you feel like you're actually watching real people, right? Because you don't see that in most sitcoms or any series.
No, you don't.
And there was Jessa. I'm wrong. She was in that scene.
She was in that
You're
scene.
right.
Yeah, that's what women do, and that's what they talk about. They talk about how to get men.
It's real. It's real.
Surprise them and say something dirty when they least expect it.
Yeah.
Cut to the dinner.
An act of love when they think you're not paying attention.
But how isn't Jessa? Or maybe I'm wrong. Is she shockingly? Is her lack of self-awareness overwhelming? Like she thinks she's got this ploy based on the coming soon. You can't tell. It looks like it might work, but I don't think anyone sees Jessa the way she thinks people see her. Even though that actual conversation this week was about Hannah.
Yeah, except they've proven in the past that she's lived a very strange life. Like she gets married after a couple weeks, I think, and then she just like makes out with that random guy at the party, and the dad of the baby. She was a babysitter, something like that.
Oh, right.
Remember, like she just like kind of gets men in like these weird ways, but it's not like she's not as crazy as maybe she thinks she is, or as wise. It just kind of happens.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and the guy she's pursuing is actually gay, even though the character isn't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, she, you know, I can't believe I'm going to make this as my literary reference, but she reminds me of Demi Moore in St. Elmo's Fire. Somebody who seems like she's, you know, worldly and has men wrapped around her finger, but is like a total mess. And at some point, she's going to be left shivering alone in her apartment in an oversized T-shirt as the curtains blow artistically.
Yeah, that's sort of what I feel like too. So, okay, let's do Marnie.
Okay.
Like that, I mean.
Oh, God.
What?
I just hate the guy that she's with.
Right, you're supposed to.
Okay, he just spent their $2,000 advance on like guitar pedals.
On wah-wah pedals.
Yeah, and so she's obviously outraged about this, and I'm like, finally, Marnie is having a real reaction that any normal person would have, and she's standing up to him, and then all he needs to do is propose to her, and she's like, oh my God.
I know, a second before that, he was sort of being a little bit emotionally abusive to her.
Yeah.
And she was like, hey, don't talk to me like that. And then he proposes, and she's like, oh, okay.
Oh, it's unbearable. And I did not see it coming. That was probably like, I love this show, but that was probably the first time in this series where I was like, you know, drowning in the couch, like really enjoying the show. And then I like perked up and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like so angry at that.
I love it how he thinks he got a good deal, but the guy he bought them from is probably in Toronto by now. It's a sign that maybe he didn't get the best
He's
deal.
unbearable.
Yeah, he is unbearable. There's also that great line that it was a throwaway line, but he said when he picks out the ring, I promised I wasn't going to marry you until my gay cousin Celeste was allowed to get married. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. But yeah, but never mind now. Yeah. Like he's so, like he is playing the part of what he thinks a liberal, progressive person should be.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Just shut up. Nobody actually really cares when you get married. It's not actually super important to the gay community. I
think that became the handy excuse for a long time. I think because Brad Pitt sprang that one on us, and
that's right, yeah.
Charlize Theron, and so suddenly that became thinking, oh, you know, honey, I would marry you, but until the gays came, it really wouldn't be fair.
Yeah, they're very concerned about gay rights.
Right. I mean, if you crying out loud, gay people can get married in Alabama now, almost. For the love of God, if you don't want to marry your girlfriend, it's now your problem.
It's on you.
Yeah, that's right. It's now on you. That's right. So was Hannah's mom's reaction appropriate? Because I found myself furious at her, but then realizing, oh, this is an enormous thing to hit somebody with.
Yeah.
Like you're probably allowed to react.
And on the day of her
triumph.
Yeah, right. He couldn't have saved it for another day.
So even though
like,
it's almost written like he's supposed to be sympathetic, like he wanted to wait until this was over, but isn't it a little like, you guys all watch Sex and the City, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So when Berger broke up with Carrie with the Post-it note that then became a, you know, if there had been a hashtags then, that would have been one. But I still think that's nonsense. Like the thing that hurt her, the thing that hurt Carrie was getting broken up. Being able to focus on the Post-it note was a nice distraction from the fact that a guy she liked broke up with her and hurt her. There is no good way to break up with someone. No one.
No, but there are bad ways, though.
I don't.
The difference.
But I got you. But I think they don't matter. I think the pain, like this is the difference in that. And so to some extent, I think, like, okay, if he waits 2 days until after her party, like there's no time when you get to tell your partner of 25 years.
But you know what? But not saying it 15 minutes earlier when they were in the therapist's office,
okay.
Yeah.
That's a bullshit move too.
Yeah.
That's a like, well, I don't want to get questioned about this by a professional. I don't want to get the third degree by this person who's supposed to be helping us out. So I'm just going to keep mum, and then I'm going to keep it quiet till after the party. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to just spring it on her right this second.
It was a lot. I feel like her reaction, it made sense.
It was justified. I agree. And also, after you've been married with someone for so long, and after you've had a child with someone and raised that child, I mean, her reaction of disbelief was totally believable to the viewers, if you ask me. Like, I totally understood that. I didn't think that she was being out of line when she questioned his sexuality.
Yeah, she was like, just admit that you don't want to have sex with me anymore. Admit that you don't want to be with me.
Right.
That is a reaction, I feel like, that
It's interesting because when that scene was going down, my mind went back to the very first season when they were having that really awkward sex in the shower.
Right.
And then he fell and like hurt his back or something.
Yeah, totally.
And I was like, oh my God, things have really devolved since then.
Or he fell on purpose.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
I thought it was a credible scene. I just think it's interesting from an artistic point of view that they took the parent who you're sympathetic to. Like the mom is not as supportive of Hannah. Like the dad wants to be incredibly close to her. Tries, is a little henpecked. Like he was the sympathetic parent. And so my instinct was to read it, given that history, like, oh, she's being shrill at this moment when he's being honest. And then I realized, no, he's flawed. He shouldn't do it then. I think you guys are right. They turned it around. They took the more sympathetic one and made him do something super passive aggressively.
And ultimately, I think we're meant to look at these two and be like, this is where Hannah comes from.
Right.
Yeah,
These are the ones who spawned Hannah, both biologically and philosophically and everything else.
And not just where Hannah came from, but where they're headed. I mean, we see every one of these people in their sort of messed up emotional states. Although, what's her name? Zosh?
Shosh.
Oh, but her
Zosia Mamet is the actress.
Right, that's why I
Shosh
can't
is
get
the,
it back. So we see Soch, though, like making some progress. Her date was at least, while super weird, fairly normal, right?
Really?
happens to Ben all the time.
But that guy is so cool. I mean, every girl's going to want that. That's like the best response ever.
That was the best response ever.
Like, I hear you. That was weird. But I'm excited and I'm
down
attracted.
for
I'm
that.
going to give you a pass.
P.S. The cast of The Good Wife is at the bar.
Josh Charles is at the bar. But like, so all these people are so messed up. We see it in Hannah. We obviously see it in Marnie. Jessa is obvious. And then you see, yes, these are who they came from, but this is where they're headed. I mean, like, Hannah's problems aren't so dramatic. Look at her parents. And look at these other parents at the dinner party.
Right.
Like, our kid tried meth. Hey, shut up. Shut up. That's not for you to share with people who aren't even that close to you, that your kid uses
But she's
meth.
a dancer.
Right, she's a dancer, right? And then the other one saying, my kid's boring, like she's a cardiac surgeon and she's boring.
Yeah.
But so they're all messed up. And then they're having the affair. And there's
Right,
nothing,
right.
you don't.
And the
You don't
wisest person in the episode is Maud Apatow, the little wise 13-year-old who gets the frenulum piercing, which was such an uncomfortable scene to watch, but it was also
that's
so
Maud
true.
Apatow?
That's her.
My God, she looks
Yes.
completely different
And
than she did in
she's
This Is
so
40.
good.
How old, she was terrific. How old is she?
She's like, what, 15 now? 16?
And she was
Something like that.
playing like a 14-year-old? Is that
No, I
I
think
don't know.
16.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Oh, the
maybe
guy
I-
was
high school
14, though.
student.
She mentioned that the guy they were talking about was
Oh,
only
maybe
14,
she's
the guy who had
14.
sex in Poland
Yes.
with a Polish girl?
Yeah.
So good.
I love the Shia LaBeouf exchange. I think I could help him.
Yeah, I know, that was like the best episode. Man,
So
there's some
good.
great writing. There's just some great, and Lita Dunham, at least co-wrote this episode. There's just such good, it's such honest, terrific writing. But like for every moment that you think they're making progress, like here's Hannah, and we see her, we get 2 episodes or an episode and a half, like she's in this school environment, she's still screwed up with that guy, but she came around at the end with Adam, right? Like, I mean, I think her departure from Adam in the previous episode was genuine,
Yeah.
right? Like she was like, I messed this up. She threw the shirt away. Like, Lily Rose is nice. Adam's made his choice. I got to move on. And she's
Mimi
teaching, Mimi Rose, and she's teaching and doing all these things. And then, yet, she's skipping school with a 15-year-old to go get friend piercings. Like, you're like, no, like 1 step forward, 9 steps back.
Yes.
And when she
Absolutely.
says we're children, she's not entirely kidding.
No,
No.
She's,
She still thinks of herself like, I'm with the cool kids.
right.
you
She's
know.
25 years old. She's running off giggling with a 15-year-old who she cut school with. Like,
And her pursuit of the teacher guy is such that classic thing of, my life's a mess. I need to date somebody stable now, even if that guy is going to bore the hell out of me because I can't focus on anything for more than 10 seconds. But he's somehow going to fix what's in me that's too wild and reckless. And I think he smells that from a mile away. Good on him.
we talked about, there was a lot of new sexism talk in this episode. Like, Hannah said it when characterizing why that guy would want to date her. Like, you want to take a free-spirited
the new
woman who's-
misogyny.
Right, it's the new misogyny, right. And then also, whatever his name
mom.
is, her mom said
Yeah.
it. Her mom said it, that it was, that was what the dad was doing. And then the, what's his name said it. Come on, help me out. There was Desi said it.
Desi.
And Desi said it. I don't know, I almost know everyone's name. I'm 80% there. Desi said it to Marnie, like, or she said it to him. But one of their conversations was about, like, he comes back and he goes, I just think my conversation was really sexist or misogynistic, the way I never want to treat you that way. So
Well, I
3
mean-
times they sort of
It is
went there.
interesting that that episode aired during International Women's Day. I don't know if they were like trying to like put a little theme into the storyline, but
But the thing is, I don't think what Hannah calls out as
The new
misogyny is bullshit. Like that's not at all what that guy's trying to do.
Like so obvious too.
Right, but it's right, but that's Hannah like talking like a smart person without saying anything smart, which is what I think 67% of us do.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I know
And
how smart people.
rationalizing.
Right, I know how smart people sound. If you really break down what I just said, I really just said World War I was from 1941 to 1945. Like, like look that up. Everybody knows that. But I threw in a lot of terms and everything, and they're like, God, that Ben, he knows his history. Yeah.
Yeah.
World War II even.
Yeah, that's right. Did I say World War I?
Yes.
What is wrong with me? Jesus.
It's Monday.
Man, all right.
So yeah, great episode for sure. And how many left? I mean,
2, I think.
Oh man, God.
Right.
Yeah.
I know there's 2 lookings left. But yeah, so they got. I'll be interested to see where they. I mean, it's not like there's this giant end point in view here, so they could just sort of pull the plug at any moment, I guess. And just
Let's ask the women. Marnie should not marry Desi, right?
I think they should be together forever. I think they're perfect together. They're 2 characters that are despicable. Like I don't care. I don't care what
You really
happens.
find Marnie despicable?
I just don't. I have no interest in her character at this
Really?
point.
Oh, so not even that she's a bad character. Like
No,
you
I
don't,
just-
you don't even
I
want this.
don't-
You don't want those scenes.
No.
Yeah.
I want more Shosh.
I want
Mm.
more Shosh. I agree with you. I'm not done with Marnie yet because even though I don't like her character, I'm still entertained by her stupidity.
There's the promo shot for the show is, or one of the promo shots is a profile of all of them with Hannah in the foreground, and then Marnie, and then Jessa, and then Shosh, whatever, Mammoth's girl, and I'm totally curious whether there is any resentment among them for the order. And like, so I was thinking yesterday. It's a promo show, like the promo shoot. They're thinking about it. They know, she knows she's 4th.
Well, it's not
and
like
you were like, you want her 2nd, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of
I
want
want
her
her
2nd.
first.
Well, Hannah gets first. Like
I'm
that's
sure.
it,
No,
right.
but
I'm
I
sure
want
that
her.
shot
You
was
want the
easier.
spin-off.
I want her own spin-off.
There we
Right,
go.
so, yeah.
I'm sure that photo is easier to get than any of the later era Desperate Housewives promo shots. you know.
Totally, right.
Now, do we think that Ray and Shosh are destined to wind up together when this thing ends?
No, I think that I think that we're going to
He
get
likes
Ray and
Marnie.
Marnie.
Yeah.
Really?
I do.
Wow.
I do. I would love to put money on that.
Because I mean, that's clearly where he is right now. But I'm thinking, does the rest of the show know that that's a giant disaster waiting to happen, or does they think that actually he's the best thing that would, the best person for her?
I think they're going to rehabilitate. I think they feel a need to sort of rehabilitate Marnie. I don't think you leave your most attractive character, your arguably second most famous character, the actress. Like I don't think you leave her with a drip. I think that they will write her into something positive, and Ray for her would be positive.
Yeah.
Right? That'd be a grown-up decision for her to make. They would both help each other. But so that's my guess. But it's girls, so they probably won't.
I want more Gabby Hoffman.
Oh, always.
She's great.
All right, good stuff. Back next week, episode 9.